mentioned, Flamengo just has a really, really solid comp on all lanes.
They really do, and I like the comp, right? I mean, it makes a lot of sense to me. You have a lot of really strong champions. You got the Jinx, you got the Xin Zhao out. The more X's you have, the better. Oh, man.
Excuse me?
It's just the blue side first. Look at him walking back.
That's some pain gaming coming out there from INTZ. Not quite intentional, but
sometimes
right.
Right click on the enemy nexus and just let them have their way, I guess.
How about we just ignore that just happened? Nothing was lost. No summoners burned whatsoever. We're just ignoring that happened.
It's just the blue side handicap there, right? Red side's been 100% win rate up till that last game. So that's the blue side handicap. You get the first blood and then everything else goes the way of the red side, right? But things I love most about those plays when like it looks like a player just entered a movement command and then just wasn't reacting to enemy champions like the way Guion just did, is that for all we know, Guion got up from his PC and left the room. We have no way of knowing otherwise, and imagining that is so fun to me. It looks like he's back at his PC now, and that's my headcanon, that he saw he was going to give up first blood and then just left, just got up. But
maybe his chair broke. I think that would be more entertaining.
Yes, that would be much better. Oh man, they're like talking to the CBLOL refs, like, come on, the chair broke, you saw it. The refs like, it's part of the field, man, that happens sometimes. But that's so troll. God, I love that. I know a couple of LCS refs in LA, and they tell stories, stuff like that, and it's pretty funny stuff. But that's a much better headcanon. I like that.
Well, let's talk about the impact this first blood has, because it did go through the graves. He picked up an additional longsword, kind of a throwback to last game where the Viego also started out with an additional longsword, and that gotta help. That's gotta help the graves against this Irelia, right?
I would hope so. I mean, it's a huge injection of gold. What is it, like 450 gold for first blood or something like that? It's a lot.
Yeah.
So that helps him out tremendously. He got the longsword, and it makes that lane much easier for him. You see, he's got the level advantage on the Irelia, but I don't know. So, long term, you got the Xin Zhao in your back pocket. That's a great gank tool going into the early game. Flip side, Graves just kind of has Poppy, more of a team fight focused champion. I think that Flamengo have a huge they have a lot of reason for this Xin Zhao to go up and help out this Irelia, and I think that's exactly what they're going to do.
I mean, you got to play to your strengths, right? So team fights is definitely going to be an interesting point to watch for Furia, but first we got to get through the laning phase. And so far, Bull, he had to step back a little. We saw him down 8 CS at some point while Tyron was pushing in that first wave, but by now the Irelia are back up on top, 2 CS ahead, and looking fairly solid. So the top lane is going to get considerably worse for the Graves over the next few minutes. On the bot lane, Mikau and Decoy for the moment are a little bit on the upper hand here.
I'll say so, yeah. Doing pretty well, and this is one of the newer lanes. It's been tested a few times now in CBLOL. I think it's doing pretty well, but there's definitely room for players playing this lane, the Senna Tom Kench, to make mistakes, and some room for error there, maybe if they haven't practiced it as much. I like to think that if you're a pro AD carry, you probably have a number of 100 hours on Jinx, but maybe not as much hours playing this new Senna, this new Tom Kench, and certainly every pro support has like thousands of hours on Leona, right? That's one of the better supports in League of Legends. So, maybe those hours are going to come into play a little bit here, but as of yet, it is just kind of Mikau lane bullying the Jinx and the Leona. You can see the CS numbers starting to stack up.
Absolutely. I mean, Senna gets some extra souls, just some extra CS, so maybe the counter a little bit skewed there. But overall, good showing so far from the INTZ bot lane. They definitely came prepared for this matchup, so they're doing fairly well on that.
Yeah.
Senna, Tam Kench, and that's kind of what we talked about, right, in Champ Select. Oh no, what's happening?
Down
there's an engage. Yeah, I just saw it. Going back in, he's looking for vengeance, but Decoy, he's a Tam Kench. It's a very slippery catfish. If you
Yeah,
don't
I'll
nail him
say.
down, he is gonna get away, and with a tough skin. Regen some health, but still putting in some pressure, regaining the agency on their bot lane. Flair and Gyong doing good.
And it's funny you mentioned you got to put a nail through and nail him down. I feel like you could put a couple nails through this champion and he'd just be just fine with that. Ooh,
Yeah, true.
we have. Oh, here we go, Lithy. This is in contention for the fastest dragon take in CBLOL.
Oh
Last
boy,
one was
yeah, 5-minute
6:28.
30.
Yeah. So we'll see if he gets it pre-6. That would be like world record breaking. Not really. It'd be CBLOL record breaking. 550.
Well,
There you go. Blazing fast. Saw the last game was like, nah, we could do better than that. Solos it up. Solos a dragon. Imagine Lithy. I mean,
especially a Hextech Drake. You gotta have that detail down.
Yeah, folks in bronze are doing that, but north of like Plat 1, you're not seeing folks solo that first dragon. It takes a lot of time, is the biggest issue, right? And there's not too many enemy junglers that you can waste time like that into. You see, Yampi tries to counter as soon as he sees the dragon taken, not able to get the Raptors down fast enough. That's part of what allows this Xin Zhao to go for that first dragon is A, he takes it super fast, Lithy, and B, Poppy can't respond.
Yep. I mean, maybe Asta picked up something like a 5-leaf clover or something that gave him good luck. You never know. You never know. Might have been a black clover either. I have no idea. Either way, first kill on INTZ, first dragon on the side of Furia, as we head into more laning shenanigans. And now, slowly but surely, the junglers should start to roll in with some ganks as we see Asta sitting in the bot lane tribush. And Decoy, oh no, man, you should have gone for the blast cone. That is not the place you want to be. Asta flashes over the wall, the follow-up knock-up lands, and it is a fillet or catfish for Flamengo as they claim the first kill outside of that first blood.
Yeah, extra spicy catfish fillet there. There was a second there I thought maybe he was out, but no, 4v1 is the threshold, I guess, to kill a Tahm Kench in lane. And what a threshold it is, man. Now, when are you going to catch out an enemy Tahm Kench support like that by himself 4v1? But maybe that is Flamengo getting a little lucky. Maybe it is just expert positioning. But we can go ahead and say Decoy's been positioning pretty greedily. I mean, that last play, when I had noticed on the minimap is that he was back in a ward. And Flair and Gyong had caught him out and were positioning around him. That's why I was saying, oh, what's going on here? Yeah, that was the play he just kind of walked out of. So that was a crazy play for him to be able to escape. But no, 4v1, no, you're not getting out of that one.
Oh, well, there's a 1v1 that I want to see. That's the Aurelia going hard on the Graves. The global support from the center. Oh, there's the Destiny coming in and kicks him out of the lane. Bowl almost winning that fight, but gets shut down by the roam of the Twisted Fate. Well done by INTZ.
Just a global diff, right? They gave away the TF. They gave him the Senna. That's a lot of global pressure between those two champions. Here's that replay for you. Great engage by Bull, right? Gets the stun off, hits him directly in the face with the ultimate. Everything coming up, Bull. Uh-oh, what's that eye? What's all this light coming at me from across the map? And he's dead before he even knows what happened right outside his turret range. That's got to be a tilter for Flamengo.
Yeah, a little bit of twist of fates here for Bull there in the top lane. That shield would have been almost enough to give Tyron the win, but the Twisted Fate definitely sealed the deal there. Nonetheless, Flamengo still on the forefront of the decision-making here, at least on the macro side of things, as they're going for an early Herald, and that's going to be a good pickup to have. Kind of shove in that tier 1 mid lane turret, put more pressure on the Twisted Fate, kind of punish him harder for roaming. That's kind of what you want to do.
Yeah, what's nice for them, too, is that they were just off vision, right? I mean, there's that blue ward sitting right there, and they had pathed the Rift Herald out and around that corner so that there was no tracking for INTZ to keep onto the objective. If you don't know what level the objective's at, you're much less likely to go and try and steal it, so it gives them a lot of safety. It's a good play from Flamengo. That's the kind of play you need to come back in a game like this. Just good heads-up plays, good macro plays, so like to see them continue that moving forward. They have all the neutral objectives that have spawned on Summoner's Rift so far, Lithy. They got the first dragon, got that first Rift Herald, and the next dragon up in a minute. Looks like they're going to have first move on that too, as Flair's back in the lane, and Asa taking the reset. Might get beat by Yampi here. We'll see. Gyong sets up the vision. should be good
That's an
to
interesting
go.
point to be in, absolutely. I mean, you can get a lot of vision pressure down now for Flamengo, but on the other side, you're kind of early enough that INTZ has more than enough opportunity to kind of push back, right? I always like to reference something Quickshot once said. It's kind of this 45-second mark before a dragon spawns. That's kind of like the latest point when you want to get into the pit and the surrounding areas to get vision down, to get pressure on the objective for yourself. So definitely still on the right timing for INTZ, but so far it doesn't really seem like either team is super concerned about the second Drake. I mean, it's a Cloud Drake, right? And who cares about Cloud Drakes?
Yeah, right. Especially when you got positioning like Decoy, I don't think you're caring too much about early game movement speed. So I think he is going to be voting to give that one up anyway. But Asa, they want to establish their objective supremacy, and INTZ want to break it up. So sometimes it just comes down that way. The cards fall, and two teams are left fighting over something neither of them really want, but can't bear the other team to have.
Absolutely. I mean, they also, and with that I mean Flamengo, they have the Herald in their pocket still. And while we saw the chat moves of winning the team fight and then popping the Herald mid lane last game, you can still pop the Herald and then go for the Drake in hopes the Herald is enough to distract the enemy team a little bit from the Dragon fight. So some tactical movements that are still available to Flamengo. But for the moment, Asta actually decides to recall, probably finish shopping, maybe even able to finish his God Drinker? Not quite. But still, some more pickups and actually walking topside. So this dragon definitely is abandoned for now. And in the end, poor old Cloud Drake left by himself as usual. And we're targeting topside of the map once again. Maybe gank that Graves.
I think you got to. I think if you're heading up here with Gyeong, you see they're taking neutral pathing. They haven't really decided yet. Want to get a better read on the map before they show up in a lane. Looks like they actually have decided to path more towards the mid lane here. Camp's respawning now for Asa on the top side, but Yampy on the invade. He just wants info here, or rather to deny info. So what Yampy's done is he's taken the Scryer's Bloom up top side, and what that allows his team to do is it keeps Asta from sweeping that river vision and provides a lot more safety for Tyrion up top side. So they're getting that read onto Asta, right? They have the tracking onto him. They're making sure that they're denying the Xinjiao advantages at every single turn. And that's just great play. That's the macro play we need in this league. And that's the heads up. It's a staff diff, really. This is what analysts bring to the table.
Absolutely. And it seems like Flamengo has a really good plan. I was going to say the Herald is running out in just a second, but they rotate towards bot lane in the perfect moment. Put down the Herald. That's going to be massive plating gold over to the Jinx. And Mikau and his team nowhere in sight. Destiny goes down. Then they finally see there's 4 people on this bot lane, so they definitely don't want to fight this. And immediately you can see Kick rotating back towards mid. He wants nothing of this bot lane right now.
100%. I mean, he just dropped the ultimate on him, right? Scared him off there. And critically as well, Kick does not have teleport, right? Once he blows that ult, all that global mobility goes out the window. So he does not have that available for him anymore. Has to stick around the mid lane if he wants to defend this dragon from Asta, who is just laying down a bunch of pressure right now all over Summoner's Rift, doing very well. But as much pressure as he's laying down, yeah.
Oh, I was just going to say that Kick is actually running Ultimate Spellbook, so he's going to be swapping Summoner spells around sooner or later, and we might see the teleport for the late game. But as you mentioned, there's fights going on, not just in the top lane, it's also in the mid/jungle as Tuts gets jumped by Yampy. And you can see this Poppy already doing some decent damage with just the Gem Tank. So, LeBlanc gets out by the nick of her hair, so to say. And we get return plays on the bot lane.
Good for Tuts there. Tuts picks up the first mythic of their team. So doing the best out of the team so far. It's unfortunately for them, INTZ already had 3 mythics on the board. Cheaper mythics, we'll go ahead and say, but still mythics nonetheless. And of course, you got Aurelia up top side with the Bork. Flare looking for the fight here. They can't really take. Oh, actually, I might have misspoke.
Yeah, Flare looking for the fight. That's going in. The solar, that one of the solar variety here for the moment, but not really any way to get through the Storm Kench. Yeah, I only realized that when you said it, that I think we gotta find some work around the solar flare and the Jinx called flare. But hey, it's going to be a bot lane tier 1 for INTZ, traded against the top lane tier 1 for Flamengo. So both teams get some global gold. Both teams fairly happy. But the question is, which carry benefits more? I think for the moment, it's almost Mikau.
I would say so, right? I mean, as much as this lane has established its identity as a lane bully lane, he still scales infinitely, right? I mean, what that means is it seems obvious, but if we spend enough time in this game, Mikau will be the strongest. It's just how much time we have to spend, right? And how many souls he's able to pick up. So, yeah, I mean, you get gold on this champion. Eventually, he's going to get ahead of everybody and he's going to steamroll everybody on the map. Tut's in, going to reset immediately there with the distortion. Just a little wiggle there for him, but it's INTZ looking for the Rift Herald.
Yep, second Herald on the board. It's usually a little bit of a weird Herald. You can make some plays, but usually it's not the high impact one that the first Herald usually is, as we saw with the massive amounts of plating taken in the bot side. But still, it's an objective that you can claim and that you can put some pressure on the board with, as Gyeong goes in for another pick. The Zenith Blade finds its target, but it's a catfish, and as we know, catfishes are not easily caught. They are very slippery, and they have to back out for the moment. Bot lane tier 1 traded against top lane tier 1. I've seen this somewhere before. As the top laners, well, they kind of split the map between themselves. Rotation towards bot lane, though. Oh, the Destiny. That's a pick on Bol. The stun lands and kick. Well, it's a 1v3 for Bol. That's a really, really strong Aurelia at the moment with the Sheen and the Blade of the Ruined King, but not quite strong enough, even though not really high damage on the side of INTZ. But still, it's another kill picked up. But there is one of these signs that I mentioned in Champ Select already, X-Men. They don't have high damage on their team.
Yep. Yeah, no, they don't. And they're going to have to get it from somewhere, whether it's just the itemization or something. But yeah, I like that you said it's a pick on Bol. And then for a second it was like, or it's a triple kill for Bol. No, it's a pick on Bol. It's a pick on Bol. Yeah, he's dead. He's dead. It took him a second there. But yeah, one thing, kind of a bittersweet aspect. I cannot believe INTZ gave up this dragon. That is so troll. Okay, we're going to talk about that. But one thing that's kind of bittersweet is that we said going into this matchup that, hey, Bol's going to have a CS all game long into even matchups. He's down 10, Lithy. Come on, man. This Graves has been running the show up topside tier and just playing really, really good League of Legends. And on top of that, even though Yampy hasn't really been in the lane, you have seen visitation from Kick in the top lane. You've seen the Senna ultimates up there, and you've seen Yampy protecting Tyrion in other ways, right? Playing the vision game, making sure they get tracking onto Asta, and all of that has culminated in a really, really solid game state for Tyrion on this Graves. It's been really well played from INTZ around the top side. It's just unfortunate for them that Flamengo have been playing just as well around the bottom.
Yeah, it's quite all right. I mean, I'd like to see the individual goals for the ADCs at the moment, but they seem to be fairly even. Maybe that little CS advantage actually is a gold advantage for the Senna. Latest point, those 3 assists are going to be very beneficial, but overall, the Jinx still fairly decently well into the game, and that's going to be a pain point for INTZ, to say the least, because she is going to rampage through team fights later on. And especially with the third Drake spawning in 3 minutes something, and it's going to be all Infernal Drakes from here on out. It's something you need to start contesting if you don't want to run risk of getting Flamengo into a soul point, infernal soul point, I should mention, position, as we pop a Herald on the mid lane to kind of finally get this first tier 1 in the mid.
Drop her mid, see what you can get, right?
Never mind, there's a solo engage here. Gyeong going deep, but doesn't get the follow-up, as Decoy was the decoy after all and swallows up the target of the engage. They turn it around. INTZ roll over Leona and the turret.
Great play there, and that's what the Rift Herald gets you from time to time, right? Even though it's late, it doesn't give you a ton of gold. If the enemy time, and this, I said we were going to come back to this. This was the thing, right? INTZ are making this massive play around topside Rift Herald, but Flamengo is nowhere near the dragon, right? Asa's like at his red or something like that. This is several minutes ago. This is like 4 or 5 minutes ago. Asa's like at his red. I think it was just Flare that was even in the bot lane. Everybody else is up like trying to not even contest the Rift Herald, just kind of in the area. That would have been a great time to take that third dragon. Like, right? Come on, guys, we got to be on top of these. And instead, they just don't, and they ended up taking it much later. But yeah, just unfortunate there. I feel like I could have been much better pacing for him, and especially since this was like literally the fastest first dragon we have ever seen in CBLOL history. I feel like this was an easy 22-minute Dragon Soul.
Yeah, I'm totally on board with you there. There's definitely some pacing that fell off as soon as everyone saw that was a Cloud Drake. It's like, someone hypes up some present or some event, and then it happens, and it's this really simple thing, like a gank on the top lane that can't really be pulled through because the TF just shows up to crash the party. But yeah, the pacing definitely fell off when the Cloud Drake was announced, and it could have been an interesting winning condition for earlier stages of the game for Flamengo, but for the moment it is Yampi trying to outplay this LeBlanc, and the Steadfast Presence already going to cancel the first distortion, but the chains as well as the Everfrost, that's the one. I'm stumbling over names again here. Prevents the follow-up, and in the mid lane, well, Rocket goes far, Tyron already almost killed off.
I don't know where that rocket was going, man. Did you see that? He just kind of threw that one in the jungle, hoping for the best. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, man. He's wrapping it around the planet. It's going to come back next team fight. Don't worry.
Oh yeah, if that's how Jinx Rocket worked and it just came back on the map every 10 minutes, I'd be so tilted. But
that would be. I'm not sure if it was. Wild. I'm not sure if it was a old Warcraft 3 mod Dota version or a different game, but I remember there was a global ultimate like the Jinx Rocket that worked exactly that way. It would fly around the map until in a circle until it hit someone. Simply like Tuts going in for some poke. As we're into the standoff phase, but yeah, that was an interesting ultimate. I love that change to Jinx Rocket.
Yeah, I mean it'd be some interesting RNG if nothing else, right? And I'm all about the RNG. Tots is on, so he's on Vision for starters, but he's on the flank, which is more important.
Yeah,
I'd like to see him get on
in the top lane.
Yeah, Bolt. He's got Unleashed teleport, so should be able to join here. Yeah, he's coming on the back end. There you go.
Just as the dragon is pulled, Tyron finds Tuts on the flank. You gotta be careful with that LeBlanc, but for the moment, that's gonna be INTZ's sign to go in, contest this Infernal. As mentioned, you don't want to give that over. You don't want to get Flamengo into the position of a Infernal Soul, and Tuts, he has a fantastic flank position. They have to divide so much forces to keep this LeBlanc in check. Solar Flare goes wide. That's Asta kicked out. They can trust the Drake. That's a free smite that goes over to INTZ as the fight breaks out, and Bull dives into the backline. That Aurelia can do so much damage. He's still alive. He's still kicking and fighting, but the first kill is in. It's a double for Mikau, but slowly but surely Jinx gets the first resets, gets taken out though, and it is gonna be INTZ rolling over this team fight. It's the Ace against Flamengo, and they might even take a Baron after this.
Holy cow, Lithy. That was just a great play from Mikau. He gets his cake there and eats it too, just like Furry did last game. Mikau with the double kill. 207 now. A support no longer. He's got the KP, but now he's got the kills. They're going to be looking for the Baron. They get their first dragon of the game here too. Like to see a team rotate onto the objectives later into the game. We like that, right? It's okay if you give up the first couple dragons, but those late game dragons, those late game Barons, you show up for those. It's what wins you games. Love the movement from Tuts here. Tries to drag a couple members of INTZ off into the mid lane, but this was the play that changed it all. Keep your eyes on this Poppy. Channels the ultimate, and pop goes the Weasel. See you later, Xinjiao. It's 2,000 health on the dragon, and your jungler's on the opposite side of the map. That's an unwinnable game state there for Flamengo on one ability from this Poppy ult. On the back end, I mean, jungler's still late to the fight. It's practically a 5v4, and that's an easy dub there from Mikau and the rest of INTZ. Great play, Liffy.
Absolutely, and also the positioning from the INTZ bot lane. I mean, Flare, you saw how far the Jinx had to go into that fight. Flair had to flash forward into 2 enemy frontliners, into the Tahm Kench and the Poppy, to even connect to the center. And at that point, if you have to flash forward into the enemy team as a Jinx, then you're kind of in a really, really bad spot. So the teamfight definitely not going in favor of Flamengo. But from here on out, the Jinx is going to get scarier, and those teamfights might not go as cleanly. But the Poppy, you gotta put out a compliment to Yampy, man. That was a beautiful ultimate. That is why you play a Poppy jungle, because the objectives are just free if you can hit the enemy jungle,
Yeah.
that is, of course.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's underrated primary engage, right? Sending half of the enemy team back to their nexus. Yeah, no, that's way underrated in pro play, right? There we go. Big
Stun though,
engage
Ball looking for a pick, but look at the turnaround. Guiyong is almost blown up. The stun into the wall doesn't quite land, but there is the Twisted Fate, the follow-up. Look at the shields. Look at the Devour. Asta gets completely baited in with the Devour from Decoy. Oh my god. INTZ certainly is not looking like a last place team in the CBLOL currently. What a game they are putting on.
Not for my money, right? And into Flamengo, too, a team that's higher ranked than them. Love to see this from INTZ really coming into their own. Tut's going to trade back that mid lane turret, but what a play there. Kick with the global ultimate, able to show up just in the nick of time. And that's it's macro plays like this that are winning INTZ the game right now. They're pushing for inhib. They're going to get it. There's nothing really stopping them either, but they're going to back off for the time being. Their Baron power play continues over 2,000 gold.
Absolutely lovely. The gold lead ballooned up. It's 10 kills for 2. And even though Flamengo still has a little bit of a Drake advantage, as you mentioned, a 2k gold Baron power play, it's a almost 8k gold advantage overall. It's a little bit of a 7 and some change, but we'll ignore that for a second. But still, I have my doubts about the comp of INTZ. I am still doubting their late game teamfight damage, but for the moment, it is Mikau on the center and Tyron on the Graves, just completely rolling the fights, and it's beautiful.
They've done really well to force their global macro advantages from the early game on, right? Everything after that first top lane play with Kick and Mikau dropping the damage onto Bull in the 1v1 has just been absolutely phenomenal from INTZ. The looks from Yampy, just the behind the scenes play from this jungler have been so fantastic, making the plays where it counted. And even when the camera's off them, right? Have been just doing really well with the macro play with the vision game there too. But for me, I think the standout was Mikau and Decoy really finding their groove in the center Tahm Kench lane, right? They were massive lane bullies, right? 008, I think, coming out of lane. They're on the center, and Decoy doing super well as well. They had CS leads down bot, and most importantly, they shut down the Jinx. That's the best, most important thing you can do for bot lane.
Speaking about picks, there is another pickup on Asta. He is all by himself in his jungle with no vision, sitting on an enemy ward almost. That's just unfortunate. Look at that little green ward sitting just outside the pink ward range. He did not expect to be seen there. Beautiful pickup by NGZ.
Oh yeah, very, very well done. And another great usage of the TF ultimate here. I really like the narrative of this being like Flamengo not taking INTZ seriously and specifically not taking Kick seriously. Oh, big and no engage there from Tuts. Distorting my perception of reality as well there. This might be the end of the game. They might be looking to end here, Litchi. Lithi, nothing going to back off this one too. That's their second inhibitor, but giving Kick the TF for free, right? It felt so disrespectful in the draft, and man, Kick has come back with the quickness, with the force there, and putting this champion to so much use. I love that for him. It feels super good, and they're going to get second Infernal Dragon. If it goes to 4, this is going to be a very high damage team.
Oh, it definitely is going to be. That's going to be one of the alleys where they get the late game damage from that they need. Well, apart from the Senna, of course. But you touched on something really important. That is the strength of the TF that INTZ has been utilizing so well. And on the other hand, you have the LeBlanc answer from Flamengo that so far isn't really the answer that they needed it to be, right? You had Tuts putting on some early pressure on the lane. That worked out fairly well. I don't think we saw Kick being able to roam until like level 7, 8, or even level 9. I'm not quite sure when it was that the first top lane fight happened. but it definitely was later than you'd expect. But after that, it just completely fell apart. You didn't have any roams from the LeBlanc. You didn't have any side lane plays from the LeBlanc that really made a dent for Flamengo. And once again, you got the roams coming in, the picks coming in for INTZ. The Solar Flare is going to prevent any kills from happening, but still, you can see what INTZ is up to. And Flare, a little bit out of position, maybe. There's definitely some stuff that can happen in this jungle.
Yeah, they might just run Flare down here. Mikael's got a lot of movement speed on the center there. Asta should walk out. He's got Decoy and Yampy on him, but there's no damage there, right? It's something we were talking about this comp. You can't just have the front line. You got to bring the big guns with you too. But yeah, Tuts is suffering from success right now. I mean, this is something we see with top tier assassin players, is that you die more when you're winning. And that's just how it goes, is that when you're losing, you can't find an opening. And if you're a good assassin player, you don't go in if you don't have an opening. And if you don't go in, Lithy, you don't die. So that's how it goes. If you are winning, you're going in, picking up a triple kill and maybe dying on the back end, but you're still winning super hard. So that's Tuts' unfortunate situation here now. Looking for
talking
Baron.
Talking about going in. There's the jump over the wall from Yampy. He's trying to connect on Asta. That's a stunned out Xin Zhao. As they try to reconnect the Destiny on a short range TP. Not going to be enough to connect there, but still, you can see that Flamengo is struggling to find any entrance into the river area even. They want to contest this Baron. Their walls are in the pit, just deactivated. They know something is up there. They just can't find a entrance. And for the moment, that is a very painful position to be in. They are grouping around the side of the pit, trying to find any poke damage over the wall. Young already half-life, no solar flare. They got a little bit of poking, but Flare out of position. Gold card gets cleansed immediately. Good job on the retreat there, but still, that's another summoner down, and slowly but surely these resources of Flamengo are depleted, as well as the health bar on the Baron. It's down to 1.8k. Asta looking for the steal. There's the Crescent Guard. He is stunned up outside the pit. Can follow up as Tyron wants to go and play. He gets rooted up by the LeBlanc double chains. Not going to do too much damage, just root him in place. And now INTZ finally has the follow up. Beautiful Flame Chompers to back the retreat. Flare still on point here, but it's still the Jinx all by herself. No one else can really do anything as Tyron ports in with the Destiny, looking for the finish of the game. Sorry, not the Destiny. That's the Graves. They just look very similar with those black coats, but still, they're in the base. They're trying to mow this down. And it's the last stand for Flamengo. Beautiful ult from the center is going to shield up everyone. Blow the Leona to smithereens as we take down the second Nexus turret. And the question, who is actually last place in the CBLOL, is going to be answered. It is going to be Flamengo, because INTZ is just that good.
They are